Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Apostolic Children's Ministry Podcast. We have a new setup here, so if it sounds terrible, it's my fault. If it sounds good, it's the podcast little recording setup that is to blame. But we have the usual suspects here, plus a recurrence of our good friend, Sister Leaya. We're happy that you're here.
Yeah.
And now we all have individual mics, so we don't have to worry about like trying to get close and crowd around a mic and smell each other and all that. So we get to... Do we have something bad happen? Oh, the door? I don't think it's going to pick up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a different kind of mic. Before it was so sensitive you could hear like a fly sneeze next door. Now, watch. I'm like hitting the table pretty hard, and yes, you can hear it a little bit, but nothing like it was before. So we hope this is better. If not, hey, we'll figure out what to change for next time. But Brother Danny's here, of course. Brother Danny.
Hello,
we already mentioned Sister Leaya, but Sister Leaya, why don't you say, I don't know, quote a poem, haiku, something?
Quote a poem.
A fun fact, perhaps?
Praise the Lord. That
Praise-
works.
That's a good one.
That was powerful.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Sister Bree, of course.
Ah,
Aloha. You are always in a different state, it seems like.
I like to travel on a budget.
It's like a different state of mind.
Google Earth.
In your mind.
Google Earth.
Google Earth.
Yeah. We're off the rails before we ever hit the rails. But we're going to recap, of course, Sunday, bus ministry, Sunday school, maybe a little bit of the challenges that we experienced last Sunday. Sure. And if you guys don't mind, please, if you could indulge me so I can just talk about Popcorn Sunday because it was pretty fun.
That was the most epic thing I've ever seen.
We'd
you guys
like to
will
hear
wanna
about it too.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure your son probably came home and shook kernels all over the house, I'm sure.
Yes, we were
as
cleaning
we all
them out
did.
for a while.
Yes. Yes, I'm still cleaning them. In fact, I'm finding them like behind my ear and, yeah, they're everywhere. All right. Well, let's just want to start with bus ministry?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we picked up a lot of kids.
We did.
Tons.
So I don't have numbers in front of me, but I know what we picked up.
102.
Woo, come on now.
Oh, here we go.
102.
I got numbers for you.
Oh.
She's got it.
I like Sister Leaya. She's got us nailed. But we picked up 20 kids on the bus, but on Green Route. But this was really cool. I was on outreach on Thursday, and I talked to a mom. Told her all about Popcorn Sunday. Her son was super excited about coming, but a little bit scared. Oh, you have the numbers? Okay, excellent. But she wasn't scared, but he was hesitant to ride on a bus, even though some of his friends were going to be on it. So she said, "How about we drop him off at the church, and he rides back?" And I said, "Yeah, that's cool." Well, what ended up happening is Mom, Dad, and the son all came to church.
No way.
Have you ever invited somebody for the
that's
first
what
time
I
and
was
actually had the
thinking.
whole family show up
It
to
was
church?
so cool.
That doesn't happen very often
No.
in a outside of bus ministry setting, but in bus ministry it happens. Like you
Yeah.
invite a
Yeah.
kid
So
to
neat.
church, and the whole family shows up and stays the entire service.
That's awesome.
So cool. So he didn't actually end up riding back with us. He was just like the whole popcorn explosion thing kind of freaked him out a little bit. But he came. The whole family was there. That's why we counted 23 because Mom, Dad, and son were there the entire length of class. And as far as I'm concerned, if you invited them off your route and they came, I don't care if they come in a wheelbarrow, they count.
And they had little sister too.
Oh,
I offered to
24. What? All right, sorry. Brother Julian's got to revise his number.
Numbers.
I offered to take her to toddler's class, but she was a little bit too young. For
There really
toddlers
was?
Yet.
I didn't even notice that.
Were they
Yeah.
the ones in the back?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah, that was Mom, Dad, and apparently little sis.
Yes.
I didn't even realize it.
Just shy
sweet.
of toddler age, so she stayed with Mom in
Oh, okay.
super
okay.
class.
That sounds better, Sister Leia. So
Much
these
better.
mics, like if we have more than like 6 inches away, it sounds like you're in another room. So, which is good because the AC's
stay in
on,
this room.
That's
and we
cool.
can't hear it much.
And we won't die.
We know. Yeah, that's good. Not dying is good. So anyway, we had 23 on ours, or 24.
Yeah.
Keep going back to that. What did you guys have?
We had 22.
22 on orange.
Wow.
22, yeah. And then
Can I say how cute
Oh, there
Orange
it is.
was?
Green had 23.
How cute orange was?
Yes.
Like all 22 of them were cute?
So I think my segment is to brag on somebody each week. Can I do
Oh,
that?
I
like
love
that.
this one.
Bragging on the girls' modesty
And
closet.
now it's time for
That's
bragging with Leia.
I love it.
Perfect.
So the modesty closet that they have set up for the young girls, Orange Route got to go the week before last. Several of the girls came from Orange Route
They
dressed in their
did.
modesty
They were wearing it?
They were
Oh.
beautiful.
They were
So cool.
beautiful.
Can we
loved
just
it.
explain for those that maybe this is the first podcast what the modesty closet is?
I'd love to. I'm
Tell
so
'em,
glad
tell
you
'em.
asked. So Sister Kim Estrada and Sister Liz Machuca started a modesty closet for our girls where they can come and choose modest clothing to wear to Sunday school each week. And what they did was they started rotating routes to go in, and we have a couple other ladies. I know for sure Sister, I'm throwing out all these names, but I hope you don't mind. Sister Lamelli helps
The only
run
thing we're
this.
careful with is the kids' names. Yeah, we have no
But
problem.
They get
adults.
fake names, like Bob.
Okay, Bob.
They all are named Bob.
Everybody's Bob. But Sister Lamelli helps run it, and she's got some other great ladies in there that help pick the girls' clothes out, put together outfits, help them pair shoes with it. And we had several of the girls from Orange Route come dressed in their modest outfits, and you could tell how proud they were of their outfits, how confident
That's
they
so
walked into church that day.
yeah.
It was awesome.
That's true.
So I loved the modesty closet for the kids.
We've had this thing for a while, but to see it in this form and kind of
Yeah.
its developed form is so exciting because we've had literally a closet
Yes.
that had all this beautiful clothes and everything was set up, but the kids didn't know about it, and it was very kind of weird to say,
Far out of the
"Hey,
way.
we have a closet to take you to
Yeah.
that there's clothes." And
Yeah.
it sounded it was
Right.
hard to explain to a kid that didn't know what it was.
Right.
But now it's set up in the middle of the courtyard,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it looks first class. There's these rugs set out. I mean, this is like a concrete open area, and it looks like I don't know how to describe it. Like
It's
something
like a
out
pop
of
up almost,
exactly like a
Yeah.
pop up.
like boutique almost.
Boutique,
yes.
Uh-huh. It's so cool. They had so much
They were
fun.
very interested when they saw it. Everybody wanted to know, what is that for?
Yeah.
When do we get to go shopping? They felt so special because they got all their packages sent home with them. They just felt so special. It was a really, really neat way to kick it off
cool.
this way.
And it's super cute because
Awesome.
Kim made little gift certificates that's like all cute and done up, and it says like good for one outfit or something like that. And so they
And
were all like,
I think doing it that way was really wise because
Yeah.
the ones that it wasn't their turn really looked forward to when it was.
Yes.
yes.
Because if it was a free for all, just grab what you want, it's all free. That's not how it was. It was like you
No.
get to choose your special outfit,
Yes.
but it's not your turn yet, and you're next week.
Yeah.
And I think it caused a lot of anticipation and excitement.
Very much.
They were so
And
excited.
it was organized and it was pretty. They set it up so
It was really
nice.
pretty.
Oh,
it
yeah.
really was. We have pictures. If I think of it, if you can help me, like the notes you took last week,
Yeah.
I'll try to put like a Google album of this stuff in the show notes so you guys can see some of the pictures. It was really cool. But it's not just for the girls. Brother Danny, why don't you tell us about what you got going on next week?
So the boys' closet, it's not called the boys' closet. It's actually called the gentleman's corner. It's going to be for the bus kids for the young boys and the young men that come, and it's the same thing pretty much. They come and we get donations from people, and it's suits, clothes, regular clothes, long sleeve shirts. I have some nice, actually pretty expensive shoes that were given to me.
Wow.
It's neat.
And so, yeah, we're going to try to do the same thing. You did our logo, which is super awesome. And
It was kind of cool in the chat. Brother Danny threw out, something about the logo. Brother Julian found this logo.
Yeah.
We don't even know. God only knows what
Yeah.
this thing is
I don't
actually
even
for. But it looks so cool. It's got a little bowler hat.
Oh,
and
I
these
thought you guys like
canes.
made it. I was
no,
like, what
he just
kind
threw
of?
it out there like right then and there.
Well, he sent it,
Oh.
but we had to completely recreate it. I mean, it was just a little tiny graphic.
Oh, I
It's
see.
adorable.
But it came out great.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks so
I'll
cool.
put pictures up too.
Yes.
I just restained it and everything.
Nice. And then Brother Danny came over.
Yep.
And he stained it.
Mhm.
We cut it out on the CNC, and then you had to restain it again.
Just
Or-
because I wanted it darker.
That's awesome. I love
So,
it.
but it looks good. And then it's our turn. The same thing. We're gonna have little coupons for the boys to come by, and I'm gonna try to get some more stuff this weekend or before this weekend, and make it look good. And then Brother Lamelli, he's actually gonna come and do his shoe cleaning,
that's
shoe
so
shining.
Ooh.
Shoe, yeah.
Awesome.
He's gonna set up with,
I'm gonna
with
bring
me
that
right there.
nastiest shoes I got.
I don't think your shoes are allowed.
He's gonna bring his
Probably
camp
not.
shoes.
So yeah, he's gonna do that with me, and we're just gonna kind of get those boys looking really sharp. So
That's
love
so
it. Awesome.
cool.
I'm
And it's all
excited.
donated from people in the church.
Yeah.
We didn't have to spend a penny.
mm-mm.
Nothing.
I don't think we've spent anything on this closet. And in fact, we had for a while, we had more than we knew what to do with. Now
That's
it's finally
true.
starting to
Shuffle
be
This
out.
really
distributed
helped
pretty well.
kind of move the clothes.
Yes.
But it also helped get the kids involved with getting them
Yeah.
and getting excited about it.
Yeah.
I think the boys
Yeah.
are going to have a great time.
Oh, they're gonna be so thrilled.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
thrilled.
I can't wait. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited.
So what were the rest of the numbers? So we had 24, 22. What were the others? Yellow was
came
9.
in.
Blue
Is
has
killing
hit
it.
the honey hole. Like
Yes.
they really have. They have
So good.
27. So we had
Wow.
3 routes in the 4 routes in the 20s, and then we had 9. So we had a total of 102. Do you count my extra one? Is that where you got
I
102?
don't think I counted her.
103.
So it says 101 here.
So that would be the 102. Then I did
Oh.
count her.
Okay,
yes.
so 102. So we have a total of 102 on route, and we're shooting for 125. But
So close.
and we'll discuss this. But when you pick up more kids, it's exciting. It's I mean, it just gives you a high that you just can't explain. Like Pastor was talking tonight, working in the field, like there's just nothing like it.
Yes, it's true.
Nothing like it.
But when you pick up that many kids, you are dealing with a lot of new challenges, let's put it that way, in your
Yes.
classroom. And you can sugarcoat it all you want, but it's difficult to control. What do we have in our class? 100. We've had 100 plus for the last 3 weeks.
I didn't
In our
count
class.
this last Sunday because I was running.
It was more full.
It
if anything.
was.
It was very
So
full though.
I would
Yeah.
I would say we were pushing between 100 and 120
Yes.
last Sunday, and many of those kids have never been in a church setting, or very little, and so they're not accustomed to the culture. They don't know how to behave, and quite frankly, some of our church kids weren't helping things. And yes, we are dealing with a discipline protocol. We're working our way through that, and we are, we're in the process of that. But
Right.
man, just when you have 115 kids, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And so it is making us have to rethink a bunch of things. Like you cannot have any segments that aren't 100% prepped,
Correct.
or aren't really on their game, or you lose them, and it's that whole next segment is nothing but trying to get them back.
Yes.
Trying to pull everybody back. I can tell
And
you
that's
for
a whole
sure.
challenge and a half.
Yes.
Ugh.
As a teacher, if
So then you
You're
have to
not
be all
prepped.
creative.
they know you're not ready.
Yep.
They know.
They
And
sense
it's not
it.
just affecting you.
Like
They
fear.
see right through you, and that encourages their wandering minds and
Yep.
childlike behavior.
Which
That
is good, because it does push us to be our very best.
True.
Agreed.
And I have found, like Bree, was last week you did your memory verse, and we'll talk about this. But we were losing the kids. They were all over the place. And
Yes.
the second you started, the lights changed, the music came on. It got almost like this detective's kind of sinister-y vibe. It
My favorite.
captured the kids immediately. Did you feel it? Like the whole room
And
changed.
you know
Yes.
that Sister Sarah actually came up to me because when that happened and the kids were just like quiet and like paid attention, she was like, "Can we do that for my segment? Can we keep the lights off
Ooh, yeah.
for mine so that they can, because it caught their attention."
Lights
you
are
know?
huge, actually.
Right.
We don't think about it all that much, but lights have a big impact on getting kids' attention.
And a change too. So I wonder, and I think this is something we need to experiment with. If we had the lights always like that, I think we would.
You would see
They would
the
get
same
used to
behavior
it.
pattern. They'd be
I think
comfortable
so.
with it.
It
so
was
you
the
have to
change of
change
all
it.
lights to
Yes.
to off, and all of a sudden they're looking at the stage only. They can't see each other. But I wonder if we left it like that, if they might take advantage of the lack of
Yes.
light on
Right.
each other and start pulling chairs out from under each other. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Actually, Sister Sarah, if I can tag in real
Absolutely.
quick, she had a really good point. We were talking this last Sunday, and she mentioned us potentially reviewing not so much the structure of Sunday school, but keeping in mind that our Sunday school class, or at least our schedule, the kids kind of can predict like what's going to be happening. So
even if we change it,
right.
we only have so much we can do.
Right, but that's why she was talking, because we were talking about this upcoming Sunday. We have our whole, like, it's a brand new, not brand new, but a new schedule for this upcoming week.
And let's just mention it real quick. So we were trying to do it once a month, but we ended up doing it, every other month?
Yeah.
And it's where one of our teachers takes complete control of the class that week. They decide how it's being taught. They decide who's doing what. They basically write the class. Now, they are given a theme, but they can do anything. They can do a full-blown drama. it doesn't matter. We really don't care. In fact, the more different it is, the better.
Yeah.
Because we'll find out what works and what doesn't, and just a big change of pace helps. So you guys are doing that this coming week.
Right.
And
So excited.
do you want to give us a
Very
sneak
excited.
preview of
I
what
think
you guys?
one
how'd
of the
you-
things that we're really focused on is that changing between segments, trying to keep them short, and then a dramatic change, because we only get their attention for so long, and then we need to bring them back in. So we're trying to do it this coming Sunday.
In a storytelling format.
Yes.
It's a whole story throughout the whole
But the
class
story's
time.
going to completely change from one segment to the next. So they're not going to know what to expect next. They're not going to know whether they're supposed to sit up, stand down, or sit down, stand down too. But they're going to really have to be paying attention.
I love it. I love it. So if we have to totally revamp what we're doing when we have 150 kids in there, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
At this rate of growth,
It's going to happen.
and given our facilities, we cannot split this class as much as I would love to split that class.
Right.
I would love to have 5 to 8, 9 to 11.
Yeah.
We just don't have the facilities.
Right.
Yeah.
Not at
So-
this time.
But
Yes.
that room
Right.
is big enough where we can keep bumping that back wall back and back,
Correct.
and we can hold as many kids as we
True.
can bring.
Yeah.
I mean, that room could effectively teach 400 kids if we had to.
Wow.
Had to. I mean, that would be
In Jesus' name.
insanity, but it could be done.
Pastor
Imagine
did
one
say
Sunday.
if you wanted to join Sunday school,
There-
now is a
oh,
good
that's
time.
the-
Yeah.
He did.
We
Field
got some
is ready.
some recruits coming up.
Yeah. So did we cover the challenges enough? So we are
No.
rethinking what to do.
Oh.
One of them is the bathroom.
Restroom,
keeping
yeah.
the kids.
Oh, that's right.
Not just keeping them focused in the whole lesson. It's also keeping them in their seats. A lot of bathroom time. I need to go to the bathroom. And there's only so many stalls, so we kind of have to keep track of that
Yeah.
and monitor that. So we have a
Yeah,
couple
that's just
teachers
one
that
of the
do that.
challenges. You have kids that definitely don't need to use a restroom, but they see someone gets up and all of a sudden, oh, hey,
Yeah.
I can maybe, I don't know, sneak out, go to the playground
That's
or
right.
whatever.
I know.
Brother Balti's our outside security, so he just kind of wanders around the premises, make sure everybody's where they belong. And I've asked him as of last week, give me a list of everybody you see outside. If they walk out of that door, I would want their name.
Right.
And if it's the same name week after week, we will deal with it, because that person should never go outside. No one should be stepping foot out until class
During
is over.
class, right.
And it happens, and he tells me about it, but I don't remember who they are, And
Right.
so, but we're going to get a written list every week. He said this last week, no one came out. So
Nice.
hallelujah.
We're hopefully
We're doing
working
so
on
good.
it. He kind of keeps around the perimeter of that area where the bathrooms, and we don't let the kids go outside to the bathroom. We use our internal hallway, and so we monitor who's in there at a time and try to keep
Which
them
we could
going.
actually lock those outside doors, and I don't think there's a fire issue because we still have the emergency exit on the other side.
Correct.
So we could keep those locked. Maybe leave them open while the kids are outside playing basketball,
Yes.
and then lock them when class starts. And then they could only have access. That way they're not escaping out
Oh,
those
right. There you
doors
go.
while we're inside. So,
Smart.
yeah, there's things we got to do and challenges that, hey, or there are no oxen, the stalls are clean. So
Right.
give us lots and lots of oxen.
I've never heard that. That's a good, wise saying.
Give us a shovel.
Ever growing, ever
Big
learning.
shovels,
too.
and we'll clean up after those oxen.
A snowplow, perhaps.
Hey, yes. But can we talk about Popcorn Sunday?
Yes.
Is it time?
do
Is
it.
it time?
It is.
So we had this idea that we got from the Pueblo, Colorado Church Christian Growth Center, Pastor Paul Elder, and Jess Cast she's just cool. You just got to know she is fun. She's wild. She comes up with these nutty ideas that are so cool.
Sunday school trip to go visit and learn from her.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Let's
I'm
do
in.
it. Field
We
trip to
leave
Colorado.
today.
So Jess, I hope you have a spare room or 7.
For a lot of us.
So we rode on their bus when they did this popcorn thing, and it was just so much fun that I wanted to do it here. But I couldn't remember how much popcorn they used, and so we just guessed. Right? We're like, okay, we'll do like 3 of those 30-gallon bags of like the leaf bags, and we'll fill them up. And so at my house, I did 25 gallons, and then my mom, she did 45 gallons. She did 3 15-gallon bags. And then we went to the church, and we did another 25, 30 gallons.
Wild.
So we ended up with like 95 gallons of popcorn, if that math added up. But I think it's about 90, 95 gallons.
Sounds like 1,000,000 pounds.
Yeah, it was awesome. So then my wife thought, let's just text her and find out how much they used. And she said, well, for a really good time, you don't want any less than 10 gallons. And we had 95 gallons.
He said, I'm sorry, did you say 10 gallons?
And she said, you can have a good time with 5, but 10 is going to get you a really good time.
He said,
We have to go to
So
the
let me
extreme.
just tell you, we had a really
Yes.
the most fun is
Times
what
Lord
nine.
have mercy. So the kids were all pumped about it, and we had the first 3 rows sectioned off. If you don't want to participate, you can sit in these rows. You
But
guys
it didn't
guess how many
From-
kids sat in those 3 rows?
What I
Zero.
understand,
It was my wife. She was the only person in those 3 rows.
I was going to say the first 3 rows still had popcorn.
I know.
From what I understand.
They definitely would have got less, and had there been someone there, we would have protected them more.
Casualties of war.
But they weren't there.
It's true.
So we just went ham when I think it was still in the parking lot when we started, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you were
And
like,
then
wait,
Brother Gunny-
wait till we get out the
Yes.
parking lot. And then you're just like, let's go.
He said, all right, too long.
So we had bus workers with bags. We had like five trash bags, and we scattered them from the back to the front.
That's great.
And then just got a 3, 2, 1, and it was on.
Yeah, it was.
So if you want to see it, go to @apostolicsundaySchool.com on Instagram, and there is some pretty bonkers video
I
clips up
wish
there.
I was on that bus all the way home.
Well, you don't wish it when you were cleaning up. I promise you that. So it was
I was
probably
going to
like,
voluntarily ride home with them if they needed me, but
Oh,
nobody
see?
asked. So.
Oh,
I know. Sad.
fired.
it was a blast until the last kid was off, and then it got really fun because we
yeah.
started just attacking each other. So
No man's safe.
well, let's get to the kids part. So we just had it was just a free for all. People throwing popcorn. We did the whole stay in your seat thing that lasted about 30 seconds. Yeah, you
We
can't. do it.
noticed.
The aisle was probably 6 to 8 inches deep of popcorn in
Mhm.
spots. Kids doing like popcorn angels. It was wild. It was cool.
That's cool.
So the rule was you can't be mean.
'Kay.
You can't make anybody cry. If they don't want popcorn on them, just leave them alone. Of course, they shouldn't have been back there. But you can't throw it out the window, and don't eat it off the floor. Eat it out of the bag directly if
Ew.
you're going to
Oh,
eat.
was it? Don't hit the driver.
Well,
either?
I have a video of kids scooping it
Yeah.
off the floor of the bus and just eating a
Yeah,
mouthful
I saw that too.
of the nastiest.
It's like
I think
Fire
I
with a
saw
chance
a
of
picture
meatballs.
of your son eating it off the floor.
Yeah, but he's 2.
He is
2-year-olds,
too, but
they.
he was so
He's gaining
cute
those
eating
immunities.
it.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're
Oh.
supposed to be eating stuff off the floor. If they're not,
Exactly. If I
they're
can do
gonna
it,
grow
so
up
can they.
sick. Yeah. So we got off, or at least the last kids got. Oh, this was neat. So there was a boy, and obviously we're not going to say his name, but he's kind
Bob.
of at his most happy as a rider when he's his most angry.
yes.
Like I don't know how else to explain it. He's one of those like just always angry kids,
Mhm.
and he's at his best when he's angry. Like he's just grumpy. He's just a grumpy kid.
Interesting.
Grumpy cat. Got it.
Well, he was involved in the fight, and we pulled up to his stop, and he said, "Please don't make me get off."
Oh.
He was having so much fun. He's finally we're sorry, buddy. We're finally here. He was Brother Danny was driving nice and slow, so he got plenty of time to have fun.
Yeah.
But we finally get to his stop. He said, "Oh, I'm not ready to get off yet."
Oh.
And then he said, "Can I take popcorn with me?" He was trying to fill his
Cute.
pockets with it. I'm like, "What are you gonna do with it, bro?" So my wife, she's just such a big meanie. She said no. So, I was actually gonna throw it to him. Oh, we were just leaving the church, and a car pulled up next to us. We don't know who these people were,
Yeah.
and
that's
they
right.
were like.
The kids in the back were like, oh.
They were
Oh,
tripping
really?
out because they could just see the popcorn,
The mayhem.
just the snowstorm happening, right?
Was it like excitement or
Yeah.
like a
No,
fear?
no,
Yeah,
they
it
were
was
so
exciting.
excited. They rolled the windows down. They're like, "Throw it on us! Throw
That's
it in here!"
so cool.
We at first we were very reticent, and by the time we were ready to just bombard them, they had driven off. They were lucky because we would have filled that car up. we had
and
plenty.
give them a flyer
Oh, yeah.
oh,
with the popcorn.
The popcorn is the flyer.
eventually,
Next time.
yeah.
Next time.
That's cool.
We have an older bus rider. She's, I don't know, 18, 19, something like that. And I didn't know how she was going to react. And she had so much fun. I have pictures of her. She's just having a ball. It was
Excitement
really cool.
on her face was
Everybody.
really cool.
It was cool.
Everybody was super excited.
So now we know
No, you
popcorn
look
is
like
the
you were
answer.
having a blast too.
I did too, yeah. At
You
first they
got
were like, no,
creamed.
make sure the driver doesn't. I'm like, no, don't say that. I want popcorn
like,
He
this way.
actually said it. He said,
Like a snowman.
He said,
Oh, yeah.
guys, I just want to make sure, the driver up here, I'm okay with popcorn on me. We're like, Brother Danny, are you crazy?
Yeah.
And so we dumped a whole bag on him.
You could tell too.
Yeah, you could.
A whole 90 gallons.
So it was funny is
Like
we'd have our
so much
kids,
fun.
our workers would drop off kids at different places. Well, while they were gone, we would scoop up all the popcorn back into bags, and we would pretend we're cleaning when they come in. We're like, okay, guys, all right, clean there. And as soon as they got in the middle of everybody, we would just douse them
That's
with popcorn.
awesome.
Well, they started with me. They
The
just
splash
hammered me.
zone.
I had it. I have a picture of it inside my glasses. It's so thick I can't see through my glasses. It's just it's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
We did it to Peyton. Got it really good. You see Thurman smearing the popcorn into his hair. Casey Lynn got
Casey
hammered. Balti.
I think Natalia.
No one was
it was
safe.
so funny. It was
This was awesome. Yep.
Those were great.
That's cool.
Good time was had by all, and I think if nothing else came out of it, it'll be a memory that we'll never forget.
Yep.
Both workers and hopefully kids. But it was a good time. It's not something I want to do more than once a year.
Right.
But I want to make it an annual thing. Like
It was
this
a
is
cool
our
The annual
for them.
popcorn war.
Mm-hmm.
It was
And I think-
different.
now that we've done it. I think a month, 2 months leading up to it, guys. You don't want to miss the great World War II popcorn war.
War
So
two.
be fun.
Yes.
But I love how you had the whole theme, like from top to bottom. Your socks even matched.
That's true.
To be fair, Sunday morning I got up and saw those in my drawer. I'm like, oh.
You just
I
happened
knew
to have
there was
those.
a reason I bought these.
I thought you just bought them.
No, I've had them for probably a year.
He
or
felt
more.
it in the spirit.
Mm.
This was the day.
Felt it in something.
in his feet.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time. Anything else about bus before we haven't even touched Sunday school and we are 26 minutes in.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah, about typical.
Fantastic.
Anything else about bus?
I think it was just a great week.
Oh, cleanup was brutal. So if you guys are going to do
Yes.
this, just know you're going to be doing it for at least. Sister Jess, when we talked to her, she said, "How long did it take?" She said, "Ours averaged 2 hours cleanup."
Yes.
And
And they did 9 times.
I was out there probably an hour and 20 minutes or so. But what I was frustrated about is I had a leaf blower. First of all, we swept it all out as much as we could sweep out into boxes and bags. And then I had a leaf blower. And I would go to the front of the bus and I'd blow it all back to the back of the bus and out the emergency exit. I'm like, this is great. I'd turn around and it doesn't look like I did anything. Like it's all there again. And so I'd blow it toward the front of the bus and I'd blow it out the front door. I'm like, got it. I turn around and it's all there again. I promise you,
Went behind his back.
I did it at least 20 passes of blowing it from the front to the back to the front. I finally got to, I'd get stuff out the door every time, but it still wasn't gone. I just resigned myself to this bus will forever have popcorn on
There
it.
was popcorn goblins in there just
We're sorry for the
replenishing
bus
the
route
supply.
who normally uses this bus.
I did apologize to them, and I did tell them that if they want to next week to continue to use our bus, and we would use the popcorn infested bus. I'm kidding. We did
Maybe
try to
use
clean
a
it.
pressure washer.
Yeah, I don't even know because
Probably.
the problem is there's the wheel wells and there's these AC units tucked up under the seats, and it just gets lodged against there,
I see.
and you don't realize it because it's underneath, and then when you head the other direction, it blows out.
It's
Your
everywhere.
driver's seat was the
It was
bane of my
crazy.
existence because
Yes.
I'd blow it up there and right under the pedals and your chair and everything, and then I'd blow it out, and somehow every time I turn around, it was like Pharaoh's frogs. They were
It's like
back.
edible styrofoam. It just gets everywhere.
Oh, it was
So it was
hideous.
awesome, but just know
It's worth
It
cleanup
comes
is
at a cost.
Brutal.
Don't do
Yes.
it more than once a year. You
year.
will pull your eyes out.
Fantastic.
All right,
Good stuff.
let's go to Sunday school. Sunday school, we talked about Daniel and the lion's den. Of course, we had another topic picked:
Oh, we
Joseph
sure did.
and his multicolored coat.
Yes.
And then we realized we actually talked about that just a month ago.
we
don't
did.
know how it happened. Like we're
No,
pretty
we don't.
careful about our curriculum, like as far as what we're teaching, and somehow the same story snuck in a month and a half, and no one noticed until was it Friday or Thursday?
It was
It
Friday.
was Friday.
I
And
remember. It was
Sarah Booker
Friday.
calls. She goes, "I don't even know if I should tell you this,
No,
but
you
we
shouldn't.
just did this story." And I thought it sounded familiar, and I thought, well, maybe I just, I'm getting old,
I
whatever.
think it was because it was technically titled different. The first one was just Joseph and the Coat of Many Colors, and this one was Joseph and his time in Egypt.
Correct.
So
But it's the same
technically,
story.
but
Technically,
also
you
this.
could have taken a different approach.
We could have done
so
a
we
musical.
switched it to Moses and the golden calf, and then we switched it to Balaam and the donkey. We didn't actually officially do this, but these
Yeah.
were all ones that we were banding about.
Oh,
and
yeah,
every
yeah.
time, like they were stepping on what you guys were doing the next week.
that's right.
You were talking about Balaam, right? This coming week.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about Moses and the burning bush.
We are.
So we couldn't use either of those stories. So we ended up on Daniel and the lion's den, which was good. Yeah, we hadn't done that
We're
one in a
using
while.
every story next week. You can't touch any of
Apparently
them.
you
Nope.
are. We're
Yeah,
using
sorry,
the
you can't
Bible.
touch the
Sorry, the
Bible.
Bible's off limits, guys.
You can't touch any of it.
So we started off with a creative intro. Elena and Natalia introduced the topic with a bang. They had a stuffed tiger.
Yes.
Quite frankly, I was busy corralling one of those 5,000 kids.
I think the lion was on lunch break, and so they could only get the tiger to come into work.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
nice.
yeah. The lion puppet was, out of commission. So the tiger was available for this moment. And so he
Nice.
came in and did his work. Be careful where you walk, because apparently they will throw you in the lion's den if you're a teacher there walking through.
Ah,
Yeah.
So
dangerous jobs.
Yep, they
It
just
is.
introduced the topic, and we just moved on.
Yep.
So that's the point of that intro. It's not really to teach as much as it is just say this is what we're teaching in some funny, goofy way.
be prepared.
And then it was Erica. She did the weekly challenge and the super kid of the week. And the super kid of the week we're doing with Polaroids now. And so she took the picture, and the camera didn't work.
Yeah.
He did so
What?
good.
Yay.
I don't know what
Super
was wrong with
pose.
that camera.
And he was all posed up
Oh.
and everything.
Fantastic.
So I took it on my phone, and then I will print it out, and I'll have it on the board by Sunday.
Oh,
we
okay,
didn't have
okay,
the
okay.
Polaroid.
Not the Polaroid.
Those
yeah.
are cute.
I'll try to recreate it as much as I can. I'll try to make it look Polaroidy.
I'm sure there's a
filtery.
filter on Instagram.
Filter.
Well, not the filter, but like I'll print out like the white
Oh.
plastic square and then
Right.
adhese it to
Smack
that.
it on there.
Adhesion.
I think the idea
Adhesion.
of their picture being up
Adhesionize
on the wall is more
Yeah.
fascinating to them.
And then his is more special anyway.
Yeah. It's handmade.
Exactly.
Handmade.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Then we had the rules of soap with Brother Lamelli, and then I followed that up with talking to the kids about the discipline policy.
Yes.
And
That was good how you did it. I really,
Did
I
it go
was really
okay?
impressed. Yeah.
okay, because I wanted the kids to know that there are consequences for your actions. So
Right.
if you're good, there's positive consequences. If you're not, there's negative consequences. And
But
so
I
we
think
kind of
that's
walked our
so
way through
good
those.
because when we do have to have those interactions with individual kids, like it's still a fairly new concept that we introduce. So if
Yeah.
the whole group isn't aware that this is kind of what's going down, it's kind of like there's no consistency, or they don't have a general consensus of like, oh, okay, this is at least what I know
Right.
what to do and what not to do. So I thought you
Right.
did that really
Yeah,
well.
Yeah,
I
it was really
appreciate
good.
it. Well, there's a strike system. We're not being official. We're not telling you that's your third strike. You know,
Right.
we're just
And you're
it's a verbal warning followed by moving them away from their friends, followed by taking them outside, talking to them, and eventually it will lead to them possibly not coming back, which is not the ultimate goal, of course. But if it gets there, it's their decision, not ours.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then we went to the Plan of Salvation chant, and Natalia, my word, she's like taking up.
She's so cool.
She's
Yeah.
doing this
I don't
Plan
know
of
how she can
Salvation
remember
chant
that stuff. It's like
in the way Julian took like the
Birthday.
mantle
The
of the
birthday.
birthday.
Yeah.
So she did it, and was it Russian?
Yeah.
So-
Different
The whole-
languages every time.
So she started or did the chant in Russian, and the kids had to remember the chant to respond in English.
yes.
What was the language she did last time?
Was it
Danish?
Danish.
Dutch.
Was
It
it?
was Danish.
Dutch?
Or Dutch?
Dutch.
Dutch?
Yeah.
Dutch or Danish.
So she-
one of them.
I
Aren't they
eat
the
Danish.
same thing?
That's the only thing I know.
Isn't that the same thing?
I don't eat Danish
Yeah.
people. Okay, hold on. Wow. We get off the rails so fast.
So
okay.
fast.
So she did it before, and the way that the Dutch language fit with the flow was a little bit.
It did.
It's like the syllables kind of fit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Russian don't fit.
It was unique. but it
Instead
was
of saying like
fun.
repent and be
Yes.
baptized in Jesus, it's like it's going. And I'm like, bro,
I tried JK.
there's no way there's that many words
It was
just
almost
to
like
say
that.
repent and be baptized in Jesus'
Right.
name.
It was so cool, though.
And it was chaotic
She
and
did it
fun.
so well.
She does such a good job. So Natalia, if you're hearing this, great job. I don't know how you remember
Yes,
that.
10 out of
Yeah.
10.
Mandarin next week.
Yeah. I was actually.
Ooh, that would be so cool.
Imagine.
That
I
would
like
be
the new
really good.
languages. It's fun for the kids.
Yeah.
Then
And
we had an action
Swahili
song?
the following week. What?
You guys remember what the action song was?
Ooh, yes.
Oh, trusting you.
Greg.
Gregson.
Trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
The
I'm
VBS.
trusting you.
Yeah,
VBS
trust
song.
in you,
Good
God.
music.
You are good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Classic.
Because we're talking about Daniel,
Thusly.
Yes.
and Daniel.
That was a very fitting song, though.
Yeah,
So
he trusted in God.
Mhm.
It's a good song. If you haven't heard it, go hear it. It's good stuff.
Mhm.
Then we had. Wait, I
We
didn't. I skipped
you
the skit.
skipped the skit.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I skipped the skit.
The skit
Sorry.
got
In real
skitted.
life, I didn't skip the skit.
True.
But right after the rules, we actually told the story, because without telling the
Yes.
story of Daniel and the Lion's Den, it's difficult to do an object lesson or anything else on the story.
Mm.
So Super Freddy came out. And if you
So
haven't met
funny.
Super Freddy, he's the most obnoxious puppet, except for Mr. Quackers, the world's ever seen. And he came out and had a new superpower. And he was what was it?
Invincibility.
I was invincible. I got superpower.
And then Sister Bree was trying to calm him down, but he was not to be calmed down easily.
Oh no, he would not have any
No,
of that.
no. And then she told the story of Daniel in the Lion's Den to Super Freddy to tell him that, yes, there is a superpower of invincibility, but God has it.
Mhm.
And God can actually give that to you on certain occasions. And so Super Freddy learned a lot, and he was obnoxious. But yeah, it was
He did good.
powerful.
I think the kids liked
The
him though.
kids liked it, yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
because Super Freddy is
There was a whole chant going on and everything.
There
They
was.
enjoyed
I
What's
love
that
Super
all
Freddy.
about?
Because you were
'Cause
like, you started it.
You started it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they all like followed.
Yeah, so they liked Super Freddy a
They
lot.
did.
Well, this is his third visit, I think, third or fourth.
Something like that.
Yeah. So
They definitely wanted to see him throw himself into the lion's den.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did.
Mhm.
Yeah, and get
Bring
eaten.
out the lions.
They were calling for it. Rawr.
I believe it. So that was entertaining.
Mhm.
Then we had the action song we already talked about, and then the mini object lesson. Keith.
Oh yeah.
Oh my! When he
it
was shaking
so
the jar.
cool.
Okay, sorry, I jumped again.
No, that's okay.
Did you guys?
I don't remember that.
So
Start from the beginning.
He called up one of the sweetest kids on the blue bus route. Like, this kid he's just such a genuinely nice kid. And he said, "Do you trust me?" This kid had no reason to trust Keith. I don't trust Keith.
I
That's right,
can
I still
understand.
remember that. I remember now.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
Uh,
And so this kid said, "Yes."
Holding my peace.
He said, "Well, just sit there." And I'm going. He said, "Pick a card, any card." So he had like this deck of cards. The kid picked a card. I'm thinking, is he going to do a magic trick or what's happening? Well, he got the card and then he put it on a jar that's full of water. And you guys have probably seen this because I've done this in totally different applications. But you have a jar of water full, and you put the card on top, and then you flip it upside down with your hand under the card, and it doesn't leak because the card has like a suction. And then you can take your hand away, and it looks like magic because the card is holding
The water.
the water in the
In the
jar.
jar.
It's really cool. Well, then he holds it over this kid's head, and the kid's looking
Oh.
up, thinking, "Man, if that card goes, I'm toast." Well, then Keith goes, "You want me to shake it?" I'm like, "No, Keith, I don't want you to shake it." So he starts shaking it
We're
over
like,
this
no,
kid's
please.
Really?
head. And
Yeah.
his
And
bus captain is in the back. Sarah, she's like, "Oh God, please no." He's such a sweet kid. Like, he'll never come back. He'll never. If dumps on him, the whole family's going to quit
We
coming.
will have words.
But
Oh,
it did not come off.
it
Yeah.
did not.
Yeah, God
Wow.
God had Keith's back that day.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
That's that whole trust factor.
Then creative memory verse. Why don't you tell us what you did, Bree? We already kind of hinted at it.
Oh yes. So this was fun. I started off kind of as a overall general theme was like a detective story. So I was a quote unquote secret agent, and since the memory verse we have for this month, we do a new verse every month. So it's Hebrews 12 and 14. It talks about following peace and things like that. So I started with Brother Lamelli wearing just a sign that said peace on it, and he had like a briefcase, and he like walked out, and we played like followy, sneaky, detective-y type music.
But before it even happened, you guys killed all the lights.
Oh, that's true. We
It
did.
was
all
just
that.
like one little spot that shows up in Brother Lamelli.
Yes.
And he comes walking out, and kids already are like, "What is happening?"
Mhm.
Then the music kicked in. Brother Danny, what were you
Yeah.
playing?
I don't know, something Bree found on YouTube. Some
Something
kind
I
of
stole from the internet.
some kind of spy
Google.
music.
Spy music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Google
it's-
music.
Yeah, basically. It's like detective-y
But it
music.
was so cool. It set such a stage, and then Bree pops her head out from the curtain, and the kids are now figuring out, like, is she going to jump this dude? He's 3 times her
There's so many
size.
possibilities.
And then
We think she can take him.
You had a whole trench coat on and
I
everything?
had a trench coat. I had my detective glasses on. I had a newspaper with me.
That's right.
It was
Tell them about the newspaper. That was
Okay.
funny.
So I had Brother Ruben. He was basically just one to just kind of walk around, but he feels like he was being followed, so he would turn around occasionally. And so me, being the detective, I had my newspaper, so every time he would turn around, I would like hold up the newspaper so he wouldn't see me. And then he did that a couple more times, and then I would kind of sneak further behind him and stuff, and finally got up on stage, and that's what I used the newspaper for. So then once Brother Ruben left, I basically was talking to the kids, and I was asking them, like, is this the place where we can find, or is this like the ILC headquarters or whatever? And then they're like, oh, yeah. And then like, okay, this is where I hear that we have like the best detectives ever, or the best secret agents possible. And so we don't have a lot of time, but I have a super top secret mission that I have for all of you guys. So then I basically went over the memory verse, saying like, we need to relay this to the world, and I need your guys' help to do it. So as I went throughout the memory verse, I had actions that I put to it too, and we kind of repeated it along the way as I was saying and adding more of the verse to it.
I feel like
How
you could
fun.
almost have done your skit thing and almost stopped there. I mean, not like stopped, but like it was so good. The kids were completely captivated.
Yeah.
I kept
awesome.
thinking, okay, so she's
That makes
following
me
peace,
happy.
because the verse says, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. So she's following peace. And everybody said, oh, I get it. Okay, she's following peace. I thought holiness was going to come out, and holiness. And
Oh,
then
that
you're
would
gonna
have been
follow on holiness,
cool.
without
I
which
didn't think of
I
that.
thought you were going to act the whole verse out. And I'm like, dude, I am in. Like, this is awesome.
Ooh, That
So,
would have been cool.
It
I
was
like
it was
that.
really
Ideas for later.
really good, Brie. Like it completely captured the room when we were on the verge of losing him.
Mhm.
Seriously, it was
Sweet,
so
I'm so
good.
glad it worked
Fun.
out. It was very fun though.
Then we did the second action song.
Which was In Jesus' Name.
Oh yeah.
If
Kids
you
love
haven't
that
heard
one.
that, Israel Houghton in New Breed. It's just a song we always sing in church. A lot of people sing it in church, but with actions, it really is a powerful song. Kids they just love it. Final lesson, Sister Sarah Booker. We killed lights again, right?
Yep.
And
She felt like it would.
who feels the most confident about talking about it? We'll just chip
Well,
in
she
on
came out with a lion's hat on.
it. Ooh, that's
Oh,
true.
she did.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she
Caught
randomly
their
found in the back.
attention.
She did.
And then she had Natalia bring out
Daniel.
Daniel, yeah, which was an aired up.
Oh, poor Daniel got shanked.
He really did. Before he even came on, he took a whole beating.
Right?
Would you want to
To
explain
the
that a little
head.
bit? So he
Wait,
was
so
one of
Daniel's
those-
not a person.
No, it's like
He
a
was a person,
beat
but
him
not
up
like
dummy guy, like the ones that you
the
the
fill
weighted.
inflatable.
a weight in the bottom and
The
you
weight.
punch him and he falls over and jumps back up and hits
Yes.
you. That one.
That.
Nobody was shanked in the making of this schedule.
But he's a balloon, right? So he's full of air, and so they pulled him around from the back, and he caught on a big screw.
He was halfway full of air when he came
Yeah.
out.
And
Yes.
dude got
Emergency duct tape solved the
just
problem.
decked, and so she has literally emergency surgery on stage for Invincible Daniel.
Yeah.
That
We-
was a bad look, but
you
Duct
know,
tape really helps those inflatables.
it's true.
Right
It
over the
worked
hole in
really
his
well.
head.
Bap. I think it was
so
in the neck,
anyway,
in the jugular.
once we got him healed up, how did the rest go?
So she basically was just talking about explaining how Daniel faced his situation and how, he was very faithful to God through and through, no matter what the situation was, and how it changed, and how afraid that he could have possibly been. So not only that, but he got thrown into the lion's den, and at that point he could have given up and like freaked out, and he could have lost all hope in God, kind of thing. But she said that when times get tough and when things aren't going the way we think, or when we feel like we're just getting pummeled to the ground, and we feel like we're getting we're just weighed down by life or the situations that we're facing, or the people that might be mean to us, the bullies in our life, things
Right.
like that. It could be friends, family, it could be anybody on the school playground, it could be at work, it could be anybody. She says we got to be like Daniel, and no batter how badly we get hit, or no matter how hard we hit the ground, we got to be like Daniel, being the he kept coming back up whenever he got punched.
She
That-
mentioned because it matters what's inside of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
She asked him what's inside of you. And when you get knocked down, you get back up again because you have the Holy Ghost inside of you. I really liked how she
It
brought
was
that
so
back in
good.
again to the kids. how he kept getting knocked down, but this inflatable guy, because he's weighted in the bottom, he kept bouncing back up to really illustrate her point.
Yes.
Yeah, she used a couple verses.
Yeah.
To
It was a
illustrate
great
that.
job.
Yeah.
And
Oh, she brought Elena up, didn't she?
Yes.
oh,
Yes, she did.
about
Yeah,
she
yeah.
said she's going to give her a
beating.
A good punch.
Oh, yeah, good punch, yeah.
She said, "Do you trust me? I'm your mom. You're my daughter. Do you trust me?" She said, "Yeah." So they, she's being sweet to her mom, and she says, "Well, what if in front of all these kids I give you a good punch?" And I knew she wasn't going to hit her, but I'm thinking, what? Where is she going with this? 'Cause it was such a kind of abrupt departure from good old Daniel. All of a sudden, she's going to sock her
Right.
daughter on stage, right?
It's for the children.
And kept asking, "Can I give you a good punch?" And finally, she's like, "Yeah, I trust you, Mom. I don't. It doesn't make sense, but yeah, give me a good punch."
Right.
So then she pulled out a fruit punch Gatorade and handed that to her,
Yes.
and saying, "Sometimes with God, you can't figure out what on earth is about to happen to me, or
Right.
what on earth has happened."
But just like any good father would do, like he wouldn't hurt you. Like
Yeah.
he's always there to give you something good.
All things work together for good.
Yes. And we had a good altar call.
Yes, which was
Very
given
good.
given the certain moments of that Sunday, I would have thought it wasn't possible.
So I have two stories for altar call.
Ooh, tell me
So,
stories.
The first one, we had a young man or a young boy come on Blue Route, brand new. This was his first day with his brother. And he kind of looked like a tough little kid. Like, I don't know. He just looked tough, So I was sitting there, where I do the stuff, and he was kind of right behind me. And I was just kind of just looking at him throughout the whole class, just, I don't know, just seeing how he would react to the class. Because he just looked like he was like, and because Noah, my son Noah, brought him on bus. And so he was kind of showing him around. Anyway, so throughout the class, like I said, I was watching him. And then during altar call, he comes up, and he was just sitting there kind of with his hands in his pocket, just talking, I don't know if he was talking to God or what, but he was just sitting there quiet. And so I come up there and I start praying with him. And then Brother Ruben comes and he starts praying with him. And then I don't know what happened, but just in a little while, like in a few minutes, he just started crying. Like God was really touching him, and I was just like, oh, God, you're so
Yeah, I
good.
saw him. I had never seen this boy before.
Wow.
And he was
Beautiful.
really praying
Yeah,
the
and
altar. So
God
neat.
really touched him that moment. And
You said you had another story.
yeah, so during that time when I was praying with that little boy, with Brother Ruben, this other lady comes. I think you were with,
Oh, yeah.
Your wife?
Yes.
and she's like, I want my son to get prayed for. And because she was outside, she goes, why ain't you inside getting prayed for? Like these other kids. So she brought him back in.
Yes.
Oh, very
And
nice.
your wife tapped me and she's like, hey, she wants her to pray. And I was like, okay, sure. So we started praying with him. And then he was just like a normal kid, just like, oh, I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. And kind of stopped. And I was like, okay, I guess he's done. So he turns around and he looks at his mom and he hugs his mom and he just starts bawling.
Yes.
Oh.
Like big time. And I'm like, ah!
And Mom was crying.
And
She
Mom was
praying.
crying. So, I mean,
Really?
I think it was Sister Leia and your wife were sitting there praying with her. And I was just like, oh, this is so awesome.
So
God,
we
you're
had
so
3 of
good.
our bus parents in our class,
Wow.
which a lot of people are really against having parents there because they can try to parent the wrong kids and
Right.
kind of run in the classroom. We've never had that.
Not yet.
I've
Yeah.
never had that
No.
issue. So
Thankfully,
I don't
yeah.
mind them being in there. I
Right.
figure when it's one time, because anyway, in the state of California, we have a certain number of hours that if they're around kids, they have to have a background check and all that. So
Yeah.
we're careful too far, but one time I'm in there, I'm good with it.
Yes.
Anyway, so that mama that came up, my wife told me later, she said, the way she phrased it, she said, how come you're not praying over my boy? And she's like, well, it's their decision if they want to come up or not. She goes, well, I'm getting him. She's like,
Oh, yeah.
go get him. So she got him, and
Mhm.
that we prayed over him.
What's
Yes,
interesting
yes.
is
Wow.
during class, he had come up to me and he was ready to leave class. He said, I want my mom. I said, okay, honey, where's mom? He goes, I don't know, but I want my mom. And I said, okay, well, let me find out where she's at. Why don't you hang out in class for a minute? I'll figure out where she's at and we'll see what we can do. Well, mom was in another class. So I said, why don't we wait till class is over and I'll go get her and take you right to her. So he's like, okay with that. He sat down, sat through class. And I thought, okay, he left. He went outside. He was done. And then I saw them walk back in. And mom was like, nope. We're going to pray.
Yeah.
And he did. As soon as he turned around, what it was, Brother Danny, was he saw mom with tears in her eyes streaming down her face. And he knew in that moment, I need to pray too. And that's when he started praying.
Oh, God.
It
You're
was
so good.
beautiful. That mama was
That's
really
awesome.
touched in a Sunday school classroom.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
And those
love
were
that.
both brand new kids from Blue Route.
That's so cool.
I don't have time to tell the whole thing, but when I go to a church that they want to know more about bus ministry, I'll tell the story that for the first 20 plus years of my life, I went on every outreach the church had. When you're a pastor's kid and your pastor has sense, your dad has sense, you don't get asked if you're on outreach, or you just go. And so for 20 years I went on outreach. I never brought one person to church ever. And I tried. For 20 years, I knocked on doors and invited people to church because I was inviting the adults.
Right.
The first day I invited kids, I had like 4 or 5 show up. The first day I ever went on kid outreach. I brought a grandma to church. I had
Yes.
never had an adult come until I invited kids. How does that work? I don't even know. But then this last Sunday, I have that whole family that I invited. The whole family is at church because I invited people for bus ministry.
Yeah.
Because you invited their child.
If I had knocked on the door
Yeah.
Right.
and just did your typical church outreach, that's awesome. It works great for some people. For me, it just didn't work. But when I invited the children, the parents came with them. It just works.
Yeah.
It just works.
So
Just
cool.
works. I agree.
It
I've
just,
had more adults come through inviting their children
Yeah.
than through inviting the adults.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's a hook into the home. We get the whole
Yes.
family with them.
It's
It's awesome.
Never underestimate the children.
Absolutely. So the fun and the excitement didn't stop there, because then this week we realized, because Daniel got shanked, that the back of the
Poor Daniel.
the back of the Sunday school area, we didn't need that to remind us, but it's a disaster. And if you're in Sunday school,
Oh.
it just
It just
I'm
happens.
pretty sure there's gremlins or goblins or whatever evil creatures, because it can't be us that causes that
No,
mess.
absolutely
no,
not.
no.
Not in a
No,
million
There's no
years.
way we're
No,
responsible.
not at
No.
all.
We're very responsible adults.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we go back there, and it looks like
I
I'm
have
telling you,
nothing to say.
someone purposely. Does it not look like someone purposely went back there and
They
caused
did
havoc?
like just absolute sabotagery throughout
It looks
the
like they
whole
got
back.
all the puppets. Yeah, this one goes on the floor. This one should go in the fireplace, and they just throw stuff
Wow.
everywhere.
On the
Yes.
ceiling.
There's
I think this one belongs on the
boxes.
ceiling.
It is ridiculous. We were finding stuff that is just bonkers. Like,
From like years ago
Feathers?
too.
I don't know who
Feathers.
lost their feathers, but yeah, I
Yeah,
found them for you.
I got an idea. Let's just throw them in the back because no one sees them there. Yeah, so we took almost probably a good half dumpster of stuff out.
Oh wow.
And it was funny because Sister Leia, I said, hey, can you help us decide what's trash and what's not? Basically, if you have to think about it for more than a few seconds, it's trash. Like if you have to
It's
think
all
about
trash
how we
then.
could use this. Well, and so she said, are you sure you want me to do this? Because I will err on the side of being trash. And at that point, I had hit my limit. I said, good, you're the person for the job.
Yes.
So we started chucking stuff.
Can you come to my apartment after that?
I'll be there.
Okay, thank you.
But we were responsible. We weren't throwing away good stuff. We threw away stuff that years ago we thought one day we'll use this. We never used it. It's
By years, he
silly.
means a score. Like 20 years ago, we thought we'd use it.
Yeah, I found a flannel graph, and I kept it. Don't judge me. I kept
We
it.
actually did use it 20 years ago.
I know we did.
Personally used
and
it.
and my rationale for keeping it was every church should own one. Whether you use it or not, you should have a flannel graph because
I
it's
did agree
history.
with that.
It's just part of being an apostolic. So we got one.
History.
I don't know what a phonograph is.
Danny.
I don't.
Okay, it's like
We'll
felt.
show you.
Googling
Now
it
we
right
do
now.
a whole
You have,
Sunday
you have
school lesson with
cutouts
one.
of people and animals, and you tell stories by putting these felt pieces of cloth on a
Oh.
background.
on another piece of cloth, and they move around when you pick them up and move them.
Like
You've
this
never-
stuff.
I've never
Hold on,
seen
I'm
it.
getting a
Puppet.
Google.
I'm sorry.
I've never seen one. Okay, well, I'm going to teach with flannel graph. Okay, that's a challenge.
We
Okay,
have to do
deal. I'm making a deal that
Agree.
sometime in the next couple of months, I'm going to teach using flannel graph, and it's not
But
going to
they're made out
stink.
of felt,
It's
right?
going to be amazing.
They're felt.
So it should be called a feltograph.
We're
but
not
it's-
even talking to you right now, Bree. you and your literal mind. And then we recorded a bunch of weekly devotions because we have
Oh,
decided
yeah.
that we are going to start pushing out these object lessons and stuff on a
Like-
regular
Like
basis.
nobody's business.
And so Saturday when was it? Monday night.
Yes.
Monday night, Bree came down and we recorded for 2 hours
Wow.
straight, right? Ish.
Yeah, about
7:30 to
just a
9:30?
little less than, yeah.
and we recorded 5 straight weeks of weekly devotions.
Was it 5? I thought it was
Oh,
4.
wow.
No,
I
we
can't
did 5.
count.
We did 5, but I already had one in the queue, so I have 6 weeks stored up,
Hey.
and that's counting the 2 we've already put out. And so what we're doing is doing the weekly devotion for the kids, and then we're clipping out the object lesson used and giving that to the teachers. So
That's awesome. I'm ready for my next shrimp fact.
they're not
The-
all shrimp
The
facts.
people want shrimp facts.
She gave lots of facts. They
I'm
weren't.
still amazed. His
They were
heart
all
is
very useful for
in
everyday
his
use.
brain.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
still
just
amazed.
it's just to,
I'm not going to say names, but the little girl.
This little button on
That
this thing is
recently
calling
came out?
me, and that's like the end of the podcast button. So, is there anything else
it's
before I hit the
blinking.
button? The button,
The dun
the
dun
blinking
dun.
red explosion button.
Do not
Anyway,
hit this
guys,
button.
thank you all for being here. We've had a great time. What an awesome podcast! Thank you all for being here. If you have any, I don't know, ideas what we should talk about, info@apostolicsundaySchool.com. We'll see y'all.
Bye.